Listen, I know it's spooky season. All of the booktuber girlies and guys are reading horror. They're reading dark romance, mysteries, thrillers. But listen, we are following our intuition, okay? We are following what we want to read, okay? Because we not only like, cute, lovey-dovey reads, we like to learn. I love a diversity of genres. I am an eclectic reader, okay? I be all over the place, okay? So in my TBR for October, listen, these are the 8 books that I by any means necessary will be reading this month. It's a mixture of literary fiction. I have some nonfiction. They about to fall. I have some nonfiction, some YA mysteries. I have some psychological thrillers. I have some women's fiction in there. Okay, so we're going to get into the 8 books that I want to read. Also 2 hopefuls. Okay, so it's about 10. Okay. Hello, beautiful people. I am Darnaya, Darice, first name, middle name. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope all is well. How are you doing? Today, the day that I'm dropping this, is the last day in September, and I hope you close out the month strong, and I hope you are ready and excited for October as I am. Let me know in the chat, what are you reading for your October TBR? As mentioned in the intro, I am all over the place, okay? I'm not just going by spooky season, okay? We're reading some depth here, okay? I don't want any reads that are vapid, okay? I need to be stimulated. I need to be challenged. I love to learn, and you can learn from a vast number of books, but let's get into it. All right, the very first book. This is a classic. Some of you may have read this some time ago, but this is The Soul of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois. This is the signature classic edition, so the cover is matted. It feels good. It's so gorgeous and classic. Now, this book was initially published in 1903, and it is a collection of several essays. Of course, Du Bois is going to talk about race in here. He's going to talk about some social issues, what's going on in society. And so this will be one that I actually need to get some more tabs because I ran out of tabs, okay? That I will take notes. I am a note taker. I have lots of notebooks and journals. I use my digital tools, but I am old school in that sense. I like pen to paper, okay? So I'm excited to get into this one because this is one I have not actually read yet. I also heard in another video some time ago, I believe it was sometime during summer, there was someone asking how do you pronounce his name, and they said Du Bois, and W.E.B. Du Bois actually was very particular about how his name was pronounced, and so he did not want it pronounced the French way or French version. He did want you to pronounce the S, and so that's why I say W.E.B. Du Bois, just for those who don't know. I'm excited to read this. Let me know if you read this one. If you haven't, please revisit his work. He had a very interesting lifestyle. He kind of butted heads at the time with Marcus Garvey, but later on in his older life, he had made some he had different perspectives, obviously, because he had experience, and he was essentially exiled as well. So he was one who not only should you listen to what is normally told about him, read his works for himself. Okay? All right, the next read, none other than Allegedly. Oh, I'm dropping myself. Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. All right, now with this book, y'all, this one, I have some notes right here. This book was published in 2017, and it's about 387 pages, and it starts out in the back on the synopsis: Mary B. Addison killed the baby, allegedly. That's the very first sentence in red. Can you see it? Can you see it? Okay, that caught my attention. Very interesting. This is considered a YA psychological thriller. Normally I read like Freida McFadden's work, who also writes a lot of psychological thrillers, but I'm excited to get in this YA one. It is a heavy read. I initially was going to read Monday's Not Coming and Allegedly in the same month, but Danny Reeds told me not to do it. She said, no, girl, because they're heavy. Okay, split it up. And I did put a vote in on one of my shorts a while ago of which one I should read first, and many of you have voted to go ahead and read Allegedly first. So I have that on my TBR. Excited to get into it, but prepared for the emotions. Okay, let me know if you read that one. And the next one, listen, throwback, Martin Luther King. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Excuse me, y'all. I've been developing a code. Chaos or community. This is an important read. This book was actually his fourth and last book before he was assassinated. This was published in 1967, and you know he was published assassinated that very next year. This book, he's focusing on civil rights and economic justice, and I'm excited to read this one. This is my first time reading this, so again, this will have a lot of notes. Okay, if you're a note taker, let me know. If you're a tabber of your books, let me know. Do you highlight in your books? Now, I don't highlight normally. I know some people highlight. If they do mark in their books, they'll get multiple copies, one that's a clean one. But I don't mind highlighting. I got into using tabs instead of like highlighting in the books, because just in case my children, they're all teenagers now, in case they want to read or someone else want to read, they can still see my notes through the tabs, but it just won't be highlighted. I may decide to highlight, I don't know. All right, next book, I'm excited. Listen, none other than Richard Wright. Y'all should have known. Y'all should have known. The Man Who Lived Underground. Now, Richard Wright, I just read Native Son. Go see my September wrap-up. Excuse me. And you'll hear my thoughts on that. Girls, can't get this dry cough. You'll hear my thoughts on this one. Or not this one. Girl. Pause. All right. You'll hear my thoughts on Native Son. That was my first Richard Wright read, and hands down, 5-star. Okay? 5-star read. So I said I want to read his entire catalog, and to find out that he was an activist and that he was a very interesting person in general, and he ended up passing away in Paris because he had to deal with there was controversy around his work and his boldness within his work, which is always when it comes to us, right? And so this one wasn't actually published during his lifetime. This was actually published in 2021 by the Library of America, and this is the full works of this. And this apparently follows a guy named Fred Daniels, and Fred was accused of murder, and he was captured and tortured, but then he escapes or something like that into the city sewer system. So this is interesting, and I noticed that's a theme with Richard Wright. Obviously, he's writing from his perspective. So in both Native Son and this one, it seems like he's continuing that theme of writing about Black men and their struggles, being accused or surviving in a complex and chaotic society. So I'm so interested to read this. If you have read any of Richard Wright, let me know which one's your favorite. I'll get into his whole catalog. And that is the same for this next author here, Bernice L. McFadden. I have Camilla's Roses. Look at this cover, y'all. It's a hardcover I got from Second and Charles, and this was only $8. And I love that I was able to find it. Now, this one, excuse me, this one by Bernice was published in 2004, and this follows a woman who has to revisit her painful past. I believe she's like diagnosed with cancer, and she has to get a lot of questions or seeks answers throughout that her journey, and so we're following that, and I'm so excited to read this. This is only about 224 pages, so another short read. Most of these aren't that long. The longest so far is Allegedly, and that's about 387 pages. Now, this next book, we're gonna get into, all right, so those are my freshly October reads. Now we're gonna get into my reads I was supposed to read in September. Y'all saw it on my TBR, okay? If you watched my September TBR video, you saw it on there. Now these I moved to October because I wasn't able to get into them this past month. But that first one is Promise Boys by Nick Brooks. I feel like his name should be, I feel like it should be Nicholas Brooks. I feel like I'm missing a portion. Nick Brooks. Don't mind me. Okay, Nick Brooks. He published this in 2023. He is from the DMV. If you don't know what the DMV is, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia, Northern Virginia area. Now, although I was born in Brooklyn, New York, I was raised in the DMV area, so I'm very familiar with the DMV area. I no longer live in the DMV area, but familiar with it, okay? All right, so the lingo in this book, the premises, the locations, it talks about Anacostia, riding the buses and the trains, I'm very familiar with. It talks about the gentrification that's going on within certain parts of DC, like Southeast, Northeast, very familiar with it. This book follows 3 teens that are Black and Latino, and they go to an all-boy prestigious prep school called Urban Promise Prep School. And this prep school is very interesting. I read 50 pages so far. I started early. I started on Sunday, September 28th, because I said I want to get a head start to October because I want to get to all my reads, okay? I want to get through the whole TBR, so don't push it, all right? So I may finish this book exactly on October 1st, and that'll give me a head start. But so far, this is interesting. It's following the 3 teens because they're suspected of murdering the principal or unaliving the principal. And the principal seems like obviously he had some issues going on. We haven't gotten into what those issues are yet, but the beginning of the book gives several accounts of witnesses or accounts of who the teens are for those who knew the teens. And so it's a very quick read in the sense that of how it's written, because you're getting short accounts of everyone, and then it goes into each of the students' backstory. So like right now, I'm in learning more about one of the guys named J.B. Williamson. And this book is pretty interesting. I have to say it's not too bad. You do see how assumptions are made by young Black boys, whether it is about how they learn or how they behave, making assumptions of what their trajectory in adulthood is like. And so it's very interesting and offers great discourse if you want to read it. The next one is Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow. I did not get to this one. This is following Joan. Joan hasn't been to Memphis since she was a child, and apparently she's going to go back, and it follows a Southern Black family, their legacy, and her discovery of that. And again, this is another short one. It's not that long. It's well under 300 pages. It's like 250 or less. So another great read, and I'm excited about that and to actually get into it this month. Okay, and the last one that I didn't read last month that I want to read this month, absolutely for sure, that's Tamron Hall. You see, I'm in another thriller, okay? Another mystery as The Wicked Watch, okay? This one is a little longer. This is over 300 pages. This is 386 pages to be exact. This is book 1 in the Jordan Manor series, and apparently Jordan Manor is a crime reporter, and so we're following her as she investigates serial murders of Black women in Chicago. So that sounds very interesting. I'm hoping it's more interesting than a book I have called The Resemblance and the Professor, because that one follows an investigator actually who was investigating murders on a college campus. So I'm hoping this one is very interesting. If you gave Tamron Hall a chance, let me know. All right, so those are my definites. Now I have 2 hopefuls, okay? Remember I told you, stay with me. I have 2 hopefuls, okay? And these two hopefuls were also on my September TBR. I just didn't get to them. They are books I definitely want to read. Hopefully before, I want to read it this month or before the year's out. But if it goes into 2026 or Black History Month, that's fine. But these are hopefuls. If I don't get into it, I'm not stressing. But this is Langston Hughes' autobiography, I Wonder As I Wonder. I definitely want to read this. Excited to read this. This is a thick one, okay? It's a little over it's well over 300 pages, close to 400. This will be one that I will have to take notes and tab and things of that nature, because I learn about Langston Hughes. He's one of my favorite poets, but I've never read his autobiography. Didn't even know he had one until I found this. And apparently he has two. So I have to see what the first one is or the other one is. And then this is also, this is a memoir by Joyce Harriet. She's an indie author. She's actually a fellow New Yorker who has also moved to Alabama. And so I was able to meet her in person, and she signed this a few years ago when she did her book signing here. And this is called Handle It. And so I definitely want to read this work or her work and see about her life, but if I don't get into it, it's not pressing, it'll get moved to another TBR. So those are my hopefuls, okay? If I don't get to them, it's okay. It's okay, okay? It's okay. But those are the books I want to read. These are books up here that I still haven't gotten to yet, but I have collected. Some of these will be going into my October and December TBR. Let me know in the chat, in the comments. Come on with it. What are you reading? I've watched some of you all's TBR, October TBRs already. Which book are you most excited for? Which ones that are on my list that you have read or looking to read? And listen, I appreciate you all for tuning in and coming back. Honestly, if you made it this far, please leave a purple heart in the chat so I know. And in the meantime, in between time, always remember to keep rising.
I'm telling you that there ain't no other way. Pack your bags and leave.